The late 19th and early 20th centuries marked a transformative era in New York's architectural history, driven by technological advancements and a relentless pursuit of vertical expansion. This period saw the birth of the modern skyscraper, made possible by innovations in steel frame construction and the advent of elevators, which liberated architects from the limitations of load-bearing walls. Early icons such as the Flatiron Building, 1902, and the Woolworth Building, 1913, captured the imagination of the world, blending engineering ingenuity with aesthetic elegance. The Roaring Twenties ushered in the Art Deco movement, leaving an indelible mark on the cityscape with masterpieces like the Chrysler Building, 1930, renowned for its shimmering spire and automotive motifs, and the Empire State Building, 1931, a symbol of resilience and ambition during the Great Depression. These towering structures were more than architectural feats, they embodied New York's burgeoning identity as a global metropolis. The skyscraper became a statement of economic power, cultural aspiration, and technological progress, setting a precedent for urban centers worldwide. The evolution of New York City's architectural landscape is a testament to the city's relentless pursuit of innovation, economic prowess, and cultural significance. The skyscraper revolution, spanning from the late 19th century to the early 20th century, not only redefined the city's skyline but also set global benchmarks for urban development. This transformative era was marked by groundbreaking technological advancements, fierce competition for architectural supremacy, and the emergence of iconic structures that continue to symbolize New York's indomitable spirit. The genesis of New York's skyscraper era can be traced back to the late 19th century, a period characterized by rapid industrialization and urbanization. The city's burgeoning economy necessitated the efficient use of limited land resources, propelling architects and engineers to explore vertical construction. Early endeavors in this vertical expansion were facilitated by innovations such as steel frame construction and the invention of safe passenger elevators by Elisha Otis in the 1850s. These technological breakthroughs liberated buildings from the constraints of load-bearing masonry walls, allowing for unprecedented heights and more flexible interior spaces. One of the pioneering structures of this era was the Equitable Life Assurance Building, completed in 1870. Rising 7 stories, it was among the first office buildings to feature an elevator, marking a significant departure from traditional low-rise constructions. However, it was the subsequent completion of the New York Tribune Building and the Western Union Telegraph Building in the early 1870s that truly signified the advent of the skyscraper in New York. These structures, reaching approximately 260 feet, dominated the lower Manhattan skyline and embodied the city's architectural ambitions. As the 20th century approached, the race to construct the world's tallest building intensified. The Park Row Building, completed in 1899, stood at 391 feet and held the title of the world's tallest office building until 1908. This period also witnessed the completion of the Singer Building in 1908 and the Metropolitan Life Tower in 1909, each briefly claiming the title of the world's tallest building. These structures not only showcased advancements in engineering but also reflected the economic optimism and corporate prestige of their respective eras. The 1916 zoning resolution marked a pivotal moment in New York's architectural history. Prompted by concerns over massive buildings obstructing light and air, the resolution imposed regulations that required buildings to include setbacks at certain heights, resulting in the distinctive tiered designs characteristic of the Art Deco style. This legislative action not only addressed urban planning challenges but also influenced the aesthetic direction of skyscraper design, leading to the creation of some of the city's most iconic structures. The late 1920s and early 1930s represented the zenith of the skyscraper revolution, with the construction of landmarks that continue to define New York's skyline. The Chrysler Building, completed in 1930, epitomized the Art Deco movement with its gleaming spire and automotive-inspired motifs, reflecting the era's fascination with progress and modernity. Standing at 1,046 feet, it briefly held the title of the world's tallest building, symbolizing the zenith of architectural ambition and the embodiment of the American dream. The subsequent completion of the Empire State Building in 1931 further cemented New York's status as a leader in architectural innovation. Rising to 1,250 feet, This monumental structure not only surpassed the Chrysler Building but also became an enduring symbol of the city's resilience, having been constructed during the Great Depression. Its completion marked the culmination of the skyscraper race, setting a height record that would stand for decades and influencing skyscraper design worldwide. In summary, the skyscraper revolution in New York City was a multifaceted phenomenon driven by technological innovation, economic imperatives, and aesthetic aspirations. The period from the late 19th century to the early 20th century witnessed the transformation of the city's skyline through the construction of towering structures that not only addressed practical needs but also became symbols of modernity and progress. The legacy of this era endures in the iconic silhouettes that continue to define New York City, serving as a testament to a time when the sky was not the limit but the beginning of new possibilities. The evolution of modernist architecture in New York City is a testament to the city's dynamic embrace of innovation, functionality, and aesthetic transformation throughout the 20th century. This architectural journey commenced in the early 1900s, as New York transitioned from traditional European-influenced designs to pioneering structures that reflected the burgeoning modernist ethos. A seminal example is the Lescaze House, designed by William Lescaze between 1933 and 1934. This residence, located in Manhattan, is among the city's few remaining structures designed by architects as their own homes. It was the first building in New York City to feature a facade of glass blocks, marking a significant departure from conventional designs and embracing the international style's emphasis on simplicity and transparency. Wikipedia. The mid-20th century marked a pivotal era with the introduction of the international style, characterized by minimalist aesthetics, the use of industrial materials, and a focus on volume over mass. The United Nations headquarters, completed in 1952, stands as a monumental example of this movement. Designed by an international team of architects including Le Corbusier and Oscar Niemeyer, the complex's sleek glass facade and functional form embodied the principles of modernism, symbolizing global unity and progress. Similarly, the Seagram Building, completed in 1958 and designed by Ludwig Mies van der Rohe in collaboration with Philip Johnson, introduced the concept of the corporate skyscraper as a minimalist, glass and steel structure. Its design set a precedent for office buildings worldwide, emphasizing proportion, materiality, and the integration of public spaces. Archdale. As modernism evolved, architects began to experiment with forms and materials, leading to the Brutalist movement in the 1960s and 1970s. The Whitney Museum of American Art, designed by Marcel Breuer and completed in 1966, is a notable example. Its inverted ziggurat form and use of exposed concrete challenged traditional museum aesthetics, creating dynamic interior spaces that influenced museum design globally. In the same vein, Paul Rudolph's Moduliter Building, constructed between 1989 and 1994, showcased Brutalism's adaptability to smaller-scale projects. The building's layered facade and complex spatial arrangements reflected Rudolph's innovative approach to urban residential design. Wikipedia. The late 20th and early 21st centuries witnessed a resurgence of interest in modernist principles, adapted to contemporary contexts. The High Line, an elevated park completed in phases starting in 2009, transformed a disused railway into a linear green space, exemplifying adaptive reuse and sustainable urban design. This project spurred the development of modernist-inspired residential and commercial buildings along its route, blending historical preservation with modern architectural expression. Additionally, the National Black Theatre's new home in the Ray Harlem Building, designed by Frida Escobedo in collaboration with Handel Architects, is set to open in late 2027. This project integrates modernist design principles with cultural and community-focused spaces, reflecting the ongoing evolution of modernism in addressing contemporary urban needs. Vogue. In conclusion, New York City's modernist architectural landscape is a rich tapestry woven from diverse movements and innovations. From the early adoption of the international style to the bold expressions of brutalism, and the adaptive reuse projects of the 21st century, the city's architecture reflects a continuous dialogue between form, function, and context. This evolution not only mirrors global architectural trends but also underscores New York's role as a crucible for architectural experimentation and excellence. The architectural evolution of New York City in the late 20th century is marked by the emergence and proliferation of postmodernism, a movement that sought to challenge the rigid formalism of modernism by reintroducing historical references, ornamentation, and a sense of context into design. This paradigm shift is exemplified by several iconic structures that have significantly influenced the city's skyline and architectural discourse. One of the most prominent examples is the AT&T Building, now known as 550 Madison Avenue, designed by Philip Johnson and John Burgee and completed in 1984. This skyscraper is often cited as the world's first postmodern-style skyscraper, distinguished by its Chippendale-inspired broken pediment at the top, which marked a stark departure from the minimalist aesthetics of the international style. The building's design incorporates classical elements, such as a base, shaft, and crown, reinterpreted in a modern context, thereby embodying the postmodernist penchant for blending historical motifs with contemporary forms. Wikipedia. Another significant postmodern structure is the 60 Wall Street Building, completed in 1989 and designed by Kevin Roche and John Dinklew. This 55-story skyscraper features a facade that combines elements of neoclassical architecture with modern materials, creating a distinctive presence in the financial district. The building's lobby, originally designed with elaborate postmodern interiors, became a subject of preservation debates when plans for its renovation were announced, highlighting the ongoing discourse about the value and conservation of postmodern architecture in the city. Cultured Mag. The AXA Equitable Center, designed by Edward Larrabee Barnes and completed in 1985, is another notable example. The building's design features a mix of granite and glass, with a stepped facade that recalls classical forms while employing modern construction techniques. This synthesis of old and new is a hallmark of postmodern design, reflecting a contextual sensitivity that contrasts with the universalizing tendencies of earlier modernist architecture. Wikipedia. Postmodernism in New York also extended to cultural institutions, as seen in the expansion of the Whitney Museum of American Art in 1985, designed by Michael Graves. Graves' addition to the museum incorporated playful classical references and a colorful palette, diverging from the austere modernist aesthetic of the original Marcel Breuer building. This approach aimed to create a more accessible and engaging public space, aligning with postmodernism's emphasis on meaning and communication in architecture. Metropolis. Despite its significant impact, postmodern architecture in New York has faced challenges regarding preservation. Many buildings from this era are now reaching an age where their historical and cultural value is being reassessed. Organizations like the New York Landmarks Conservancy have initiated efforts to recognize and protect postmodern structures, acknowledging their role in the city's architectural narrative and the need to preserve their unique contributions for future generations. New York Landmarks Conservancy. In summary, the postmodern movement in New York City during the late 20th century represented a critical re-engagement with historical forms, symbolism, and context in architecture. Through iconic buildings like 550 Madison Avenue, 60 Wall Street, and the AXA Equitable Center, architects challenged the prevailing modernist doctrines, introducing a pluralism that has enriched the city's architectural tapestry. As these structures age, the conversation around their preservation underscores their lasting significance and the evolving appreciation of postmodernism's legacy in the urban environment. In the early 21st century, New York City's architectural landscape has been profoundly shaped by the principles of sustainable design, reflecting a global shift towards environmental responsibility and energy efficiency. This movement is exemplified by several landmark projects that have redefined urban development in the metropolis. The Bank of America Tower, completed in 2009 and designed by Cook Fox Architects, stands as a paragon of green architecture. This 1,200-foot skyscraper incorporates a range of sustainable features, including floor-to-ceiling insulated glass windows that maximize natural light while minimizing heat gain, and a rainwater harvesting system that reduces water consumption. The building's use of recycled and renewable materials further underscores its commitment to sustainability. Another significant development is the revival of terracotta as a building material in contemporary projects. Terracotta, known for its durability and natural insulating properties, has been utilized in various new constructions, contributing to energy efficiency and reduced environmental impact. The material's recyclability at the end of its lifespan also aligns with sustainable building practices. Additionally, the city has seen a rise in high-end residential buildings designed with eco-friendly features. Developments such as the Visionaire in Battery Park City offer residents sustainable luxury, incorporating green roofs, efficient HVAC systems, and the use of non-toxic materials. These initiatives not only reduce the environmental footprint but also promote healthier living environments. Despite these advancements, challenges remain. Reports indicate that New York City is not on track to meet its climate goals, with buildings being significant contributors to greenhouse gas emissions. This has prompted calls for stricter regulations and more aggressive implementation of sustainable practices in the construction and operation of buildings. In conclusion, while New York City has made notable strides in integrating sustainable architecture into its urban fabric, ongoing efforts are essential to address environmental challenges and to ensure that future developments contribute positively to the city's ecological footprint.